Hello everyone, this is 0xnews, dedicated to sharing the most cutting-edge Web3 information. Worldcoin officially announced today that the Worldcoin protocol, World ID, World Token, and World App are now available worldwide or legally permitted. Subsequently, 0xnews, Binance, and many other exchanges have announced the listing of World. This video will introduce Worldcoin's token economy, distribution, and release models respectively. World Token Economic Distribution Model. Worldcoin, WLD, is an ERC-20 token on the Ethereum mainnet, where individuals can receive their user grants on the Optimism mainnet. Therefore, most WLD transactions will likely take place on the Optimism network. Tokens can be bridged back to Ethereum via Optimism if desired. The initial supply of Worldcoin is capped at 10 billion, enforced by the WLD Smart Contract, for 15 years after the token launch. After 15 years, if the user decides to activate the inflation mode through governance, the maximum annual inflation rate is 1.5. The maximum circulating supply at the time of initial launch will be 143 million WLDs, of which 43 million WLDs will be distributed to users who use orb verification during the pre-launch phase of the project, and 100 million will be lent to market makers operating outside the United States, long-sign, and expires in 3 months. The Worldcoin token economic model is as follows. 75 will be allocated to the Worldcoin community. Most of the tokens will be allocated to users, and some tokens will be allocated to ecological funds and network operations. The Foundation will manage the distribution of these tokens in accordance with its Articles of Incorporation and authorize the gradual decentralization of governance for token management decisions. 9.8 is allocated to the initial development team with Tools for Humanity, TF, and other service providers taking the development initial steps for Worldcoin. TF currently provides services for the Worldcoin Foundation and operates the World App. The distribution ratio in the chart and the article is inconsistent. 13.5 is allocated to Tools for Humanity investors. TF investors provide funds to enable TF to support the multi-year pre-launch phase of the Shitong Yuan project. The remaining 1.7 will be used as TF's reserve. After launch, TF will retain a reserve of 170 million WLD. The distribution ratio in the chart and the article is inconsistent. It is worth noting that Worldcoin announced in 2021 that the proportion of tokens allocated to TTA and the initial development team will be 20, and the latest white paper has increased this allocation to 25. In this regard, the explanation given by Worldcoin is that developing and launching the network responsibly is more complicated and expensive than F initially expected. Before Worldcoin achieves decentralization and self-sufficiency, the Worldcoin Foundation will support the Worldcoin ecosystem and will mainly distribute community tokens to user grants, 60, including Genesis grants, 25, welcome grant incentives obtained after verifying orbs, 1 WLD, which decreases over time, and regular grants, etc. Network operations, 10, with an initial focus on developing incentives for orb manufacturing, orb operations, market operations support, bug bounty programs, etc. After the transition phase, it is expected that all operator rewards will be paid in WLD. During the transition period, some operator rewards will be paid out in UZT. Ecosystem funds, 5, including Protocol ROD, Orb ARB, standard setting, auditing and certification, ecosystem grants, incentive programs, liquidity provision, foundation operations. Among them, World Assets Limited has signed loan agreements with 5 market makers operating outside the United States. These 5 entities received a loan of 100 million WLD within 3 months of the token launch. At the end of the 3 months, each entity must repay its loan or may choose to purchase any number of tokens up to the loan amount it received. The unit price of purchased WLD will be set according to the following formula: 2.0, 0.4x, where x is equal to the number of purchased tokens divided by 1 million. The Worldcoin Foundation has formulated an ideal token distribution goal, as shown in the figure. Release model. The 2 most important points about the World release model are: team and investor tokens are locked at launch. User claim tokens are not locked. The maximum circulating supply at the time of initial launch will be 143 million WLDs, of which 43 million WLDs will be distributed to users who use orb verification during the pre-launch phase of the project, and 100 million will be lent to market makers operating outside the United States, long S. It expires in 3 months. During launch week, the number of tokens distributed to users is expected to increase substantially as new and existing orb verified users will be able to claim the Genesis grant of 25 WLD, Worldcoin said. The figure below shows the WLD unlock plan for the next 15 years. Afterwards, the release speed of the WLD tokens allocated to the Worldcoin community will be determined by governance, depending on factors including the growth rate of the number of Worldcoin users. Note, the graph shows the earliest unlock state of all tokens. Among them, the token unlock schedule assigned to the community is enforced by 4 smart contracts. Tokens allocated to users and operators are not locked. The following table shows the unlocking of community tokens for each specified time period, and within each time period, the same number of tokens are unlocked every day. Tokens allocated to TF investors will be contractually locked for 12 months after these investors exercise their respective token warrants, and then unlocked on an average daily basis for the next 24 months. For tokens allocated to the initial development team, tokens already allocated to previous and current team members will be contractually locked for 12 months after launch, and then unlocked on an average daily basis for the next 24 months. Tokens allocated to TF reserves will also be contractually locked for at least as long as the token lockup period applicable to T8 investors and team members. The exact lockup period will depend on when these tokens are distributed. WLD utility and distribution goals. Worldcoin stated that its pre-launch phase will run from May 2021 to July 2023. During that time period, more than 2 million people verified their World ID on the orb in more than 30 different countries. Over 4,300 World tokens have been allocated to these users prior to launch. At launch, Worldcoin will start rolling out 1,500 orbs to meet the global demand for World ID. The Worldcoin Foundation will manage the project and work to gradually decentralize the governance and ecosystem and provide the majority of the WLD token supply to participants in the Worldcoin protocol. The distribution entity of WLD tokens is World Assets Limited, a subsidiary of the Worldcoin Foundation. Worldcoin stated that WLD is designed as a utility token with governance attributes. In addition to the traditional one token, one vote governance mechanism, the introduction of World ID paves the way for the one person, one vote mechanism. These two mechanisms can be combined in a number of ways to enable new forms of governance. Following the token launch, the Worldcoin Foundation will solicit proposals and work with the community to discuss how the World ID and WLD tokens might interact within the Worldcoin governance model. Other use cases include that a user may decide to use WLD tokens to pay for certain actions in the World app or other wallet applications, to make other payments, e.g., send money, tip artists, buy and sell goods and services. Worldcoin stated that in the long run, the WLD token can also be considered a global store of value. The above is the content of this video. Thank you for watching. Here is the Xerox News. Please remember to subscribe and like.